What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Pickleball Connection podcast. I'm Danea.
And I'm Barrett.
And we're stoked to be hanging out with you today. Today's episode is going to be all things rec play. And you guys know rec play is a little crazy. So, Barrett, kick us off with our very first post.
What's up, everyone? Selkirk Pro here, Jack Sock.
Hey everyone, it's John Isner here.
We got some insane deals for you coming. Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Anything pickleball related that you want, paddles, balls, apparel, gear, whatever it is.
Anything you possibly need to improve your game and have the best in the pickleball world.
Selkirk has you covered on Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
Go check it out at selkirk.com.
Yeah, so guys, we're going to dive into our favorite wonderful world of Reddit today because there are some fun little topics in regards to Reddit. And so basically our first one is a good one, and it has to do with bangers versus soft players.
This is like the OG battle of all OG battles.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think of somebody like my mom. My mom has no tennis background.
Honestly, shout out to Terry right now.
Love Terry Bass.
She's the best.
But she has no tennis background. She doesn't play. She only plays pickleball maybe a couple times a year, kind of it feels like. But when we first started teaching her pickleball, we were, focusing on the soft game, dinks, drops, these types of things. And
your fundamentals.
And they're necessary shots. But I think the issue is she goes and plays with a bunch of people that played tennis. And so they just kind of bang the ball. And I think there's such a balance here of playing a banger and being able to soften the game up, but also being able to hit the ball hard and being able to bang the ball back against a banger. Mm-hmm. And so I think that this is such an interesting topic because certain players like to play against bangers and certain players prefer to play against people that hit soft, and vice versa. Certain players hate to play against bangers and hate to play against people that play soft. And that's kind of what this post is about. So this guy basically says, hey, y'all, just wondering if I could start a discussion about this. I find it funny when people complain about bangers. I would rather play somebody that hits the ball hard when I'm at the net versus somebody that hits a loopy, soft drop that can be goofy to attack. Just wondering if folks agree. To me, solid soft play is much tougher to play against versus someone that's going to hit a drive after drive when I'm at the net, and all I can do is block the ball back. To me, hitting drops to get to the net and dink wars are much tougher to play against versus someone that may be erratic and hit the beautiful passing shot once in a while. He basically says, what do you folks think? And he gives an example of, I'm probably a 3-5-ish player. And he recently played a team in doubles where they were about 4 to 4-5. And they were kind of just goofing around, hitting soft shots all day. And it was beautiful to watch because they had such great form. So he's a nice guy. He's complimenting them.
Love it.
And basically he's saying it was just frustrating because it was very hard for him to play against. So brings up the topic that we kind of are going to get into a little bit here. But what are your thoughts? Like, first off, would you rather play someone that plays soft, or would you rather play a banger? Or does it just depend?
I don't know. I think it just depends.
There's good bangers and there's erratic.
Yeah, exactly. Like I love when people try to speed up. I feel like I have a good counter. I think that's one of the best parts of my game. Mm-hmm. But I love long. But here's the thing: I do agree with him to an extent. Mm-hmm. When you play a team that's phenomenal at like playing the soft game at the net, it truly is one of the hardest things because you don't know what to do. You can't speed up a ball because everything's too low, and you literally this is what the Johns brothers did for so long in pro pickleball, so well, is they dominated the very soft finesse part of the game where people just, you kind of immobilize people from being able to attack you in so many ways.
You're playing into their strengths at that point.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
like when you play, like people kind of dog on long dink rallies, but I'm like, when you actually play a legit team that's hitting phenomenal good dinks, it is very, very difficult to figure out how to get a freaking point.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's obviously different factors. Like you mentioned, there's the increase of paddle technology. So when we first learned the game, you know, back in 2018 or started playing a lot.
19.
Was it 2019?
Yeah.
You sure?
I thought so.
I don't know. 2018 or 2019. I'll go back and I need to know this. I need to know this for my sake, because I think I've been telling people 2018.
Maybe I'm wrong.
But when we first started playing the game, you know, it's paddles were at a certain place where you really couldn't speed certain balls up without, you didn't have the spin, you didn't have the ability to kind of shape the ball and keep it in. And I think that, like, to your point, people were able to play soft.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that there is, you know, there are good bangers. There are people that are really good at hitting the ball hard. And a lot of times those people close. And I think what this guy's talking about in this post is, it sounds like he's just blocking the ball back. So I think when you're playing against a banger and all you really know how to do is block versus counter, like you bring up, like, I think it's very difficult. So I think that we need to teach people more. We need to start incorporating, as we're teaching, you know, 3-0, 3-5 players, that if someone's hitting the ball hard at you, there is a time when you shouldn't just block the ball defensively, but you should actually punch the ball back at their feet. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, that's something that you do really well. And if someone hits the ball hard at you, you have the ability to put it hard back at their feet. And then they really can't hit another hard shot. They don't have time. Mm-hmm. So I think that where people get in trouble is when they get very block happy. And it sounds like that's what this guy was experiencing. And that's why, you know, it's difficult for, you know, for that. And now he's also saying this other side of it, these guys were slowing the ball down. So it sounds like he likes to play fast. Mm-hmm. So there's this difference in you're playing against people that play fast versus you like to play fast. So I think it's knowing your opponent, knowing kind of your play styles.
Yeah.
But I think that there is a clear way to play slow effectively, and there's a clear way to play fast effectively. But there's also ways to do them incorrectly.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, but yeah, guys, let us know in the comments, like, do you prefer playing slow or fast? And do you prefer playing against slow or fast people? It's kind of interesting because I kind of prefer to play slow, I think, but I also kind of like playing against people that play slow. They probably go hand in hand, you know, because I'm like, if you're playing slow, I feel like I can outplay you, but I also sometimes get caught in that play style. And I'm like, oh, I could probably speed that up. And then I start speeding the ball up too much and I'm playing out of my play style. Right. So I think it's definitely a balance, and you definitely have to know how to do both in today's game.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of our first topic, guys. Let us know what you think. Are you a banger? Are you a soft player? And what do you like to play against?
What do you identify as?
Oh gosh.
All right.
You want to go to the next one? Yeah.
So I just saw this on Selkirk's website, and it's like the perfect thing to use if you're trying to get pickleball gifts for your loved ones this holiday season. I'm trying to get my parents into pickleball, so I have to go get them like paddles, the whole shebang, and I'm going to take you guys through literally what I'm going to get them. This is what it looks like. So first you choose a pickleball paddle. So these are all the paddles. I really want to get them the Halo Control. I'm going to get the Max in pink for my mom. So I'll add that. So that's in my bundle. And then next you can choose 2 accessories. I get this hat. I think that's really cute. And this like, oh wait, duh. Have to get pickleballs. And then look, you literally get a percentage off your bundle. Like, dude, that's so easy. I'm gonna do this for everyone in my family because selfishly I want them all to be obsessed with pickleball like me. But this is a great way to just bundle up some gifts for people if you guys are doing that for the holiday, and you get that 15% off. So you might just have to get me a new bundle. I don't know.
Okay, so this next post, this made me laugh. This person says, all right, I'm gonna start this off by saying I love pickleball. maybe a little too much as I'm starting to get tennis elbow. I picked it up 3 months ago and play semi-regularly at my local Y. My background in racket sports came from table tennis and specifically badminton. And this is relevant to the story. Anyways.
Glad to know that.
I know, I love it. My game relies on drives, slices, and spins, and a decent overhead smash. I've definitely gotten both awe and side stares from my smashes, but today was the very first time I was accosted. Is that how you pronounce that? Accosted by another player for hitting the ball too hard. So basically, this person chewed him out. She stopped me after the game and talked about how I should reduce the intensity and how my overhead was too scary for her. I also took it as good sport and apologized because for me, rec play is a way to stay fit and improve while having fun. I personally don't mind the conversation, but the way she went about it seemed pretty forceful. I would love to hear other people's opinions on how they would have taken that feedback from rec play. And then he keeps going. But so basically, this guy who has a badminton background, which PS, if you guys don't know why that was relevant, badminton players have some of the nastiest, like most insane overhead hits. Like, I don't know what it is about
that wrist involved.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the badminton background, but they have
feel
like a whip.
I feel like we've started to see, side note, I feel like we've started to see an influx of tennis players. I think we're going to see a wave of badminton players get into pickleball, and it's going to be scary. It's going to be tough because they have such an ability to get the ball down.
Yeah. So this guy's basically saying, I have this badminton background. I have a really nasty overhead. And basically he was playing and hit overheads, and to the point where the other team literally confronted him about it afterwards. And so I just wanted to, get your opinion on like, hey, in regards to rec play, is there such a thing as hitting too hard of smashes? Like, is it appropriate to, confront someone about that at rec play? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it depends on your crowd. It depends on your level.
Read the room.
There's so many things like that can go into this. Like, what level are you? How long are the people that you've been playing with? Like, how long are they
playing? 3 months.
They've been playing. Yeah, so I think that's a little different. But I also think this kind of gets into this conversation that we've had before on the pod about apologizing. And there's certain people that just like, this person said in that post that they apologized. He's afterwards.
Like, I was a good sport about it, and I apologized.
And I think that there's this kind of like culture in pickleball that if you hit a shot that's like hit somebody or clips off the tape, or like it's unlucky, or or you smash the ball and it like doesn't hit them in the face, but it kind of like goes by there. Like, there's this, I'm sorry, totally, there's this being overly apologetic, but there's also a politeness to like, I'm sorry, and so I think that in this situation, it's like, I don't know, like, I don't necessarily think you need to apologize for hitting a good shot. Like,
yeah.
But like, it's different maybe if this like person were to smash an overhead and it were to like sail and hit somebody in the chest or something.
Yeah.
I think that's a completely different story, but this person sounds like they were just getting mad that they were getting beat.
Yeah.
So I think that's different. Like, if you're mad that you're getting beat, then like, don't play sports, like, but
play Monopoly. I don't know. I guess I would be like, I've said this before. You cannot tell people how to play you. Look, I don't think you should be able to do that in a sport environment. Again, assuming, beginners are playing on beginner courts, advanced players are playing on advanced courts, or whatever, or however that works. I'm assuming people are like being a good sport and being in good faith and trying their best. But, even if it's a tennis player's very first time playing pickleball and they're playing with a crew that's maybe also beginner, and they're like smashing drives, I would never apologize. I would never expect them to apologize for hitting fast shots or good shots. You know, even if I was a beginner on the other side, it's just a good shot. I think it's,
to this person's point, there are times when you should apologize.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, like you said, if you hit somebody or whatever, like there's absolutely a time and place for an apology for that.
Unless you're in a tournament. Then
you're never sorry in a tournament.
Then you should never apologize.
That's so
should
bad.
be intimidating.
I've apologized in tournaments.
I'm just
kidding. Yeah, I just think that's really silly to, one, yell at people for playing you a certain way, and two, expect people to change how they play when they play you. I think that's just the most odd concept to me. And I see this same argument all the time in rec play. Why didn't you hit me? Why didn't, why'd you target them? Because that's how you freaking play the game. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
maybe I'm too competitive. I don't know, but that's just my thought.
Yeah, no, I'll take some ownership. You know, I think I've fallen into this before. Like it's probably maybe about a year ago or so. I was playing a game, and
do I know what you're going to talk about?
You probably do. You could probably remember in rec play, and the team we were playing was just lobbing repeatedly, like lob after lob after lob. And they were actually pretty good lobs. But like the first lob that they hit, I kind of shanked it. You know, I think I might have hit it into the net, or I might have hit it out. And they kept doing it. And I was just, because I think I was in my head that I think that a tip for you, if you're hitting an overhead, I think you just need to go for it. You know, like I think a lot of people try to like not miss, and you should just have let your arm be loose and just like you're throwing a ball, just go for it. And if you miss, you miss, you know. But I think like that I got into this stage where I was kind of like trying not to miss my overhead, and I kept missing them. And I like said something out loud. I can't remember what I said, but I was like mad that they kept lobbing me. I was like, this isn't real pickleball or something like, which I get it. People probably feel that way. It's like, it does feel different when you're hitting overhead after overhead. It feels more like you're playing tennis or padel or something. Like you don't see professional points where there's tons of overheads. Like you'll see some rallies, but it's not a like very common thing in rallies to see overhead after overhead after overhead. And I was frustrated, but then and at the end of the game,
we got into a little tiff.
It kind of got a little heated. I kind of made some comments like as they beat us, and we paddle tapped. I kind of made some comments, and then we 5-10 minutes later, we kind of are making amends on the sideline. Like, hey, sorry, man, I shouldn't have said that. It's kind of heated in the moment. But as I look back on that game, I'm like, you know what I could have done?
You could have freaking dominated the overhead.
I could have hit a better overhead. You know,
not their fault. Honestly, I'm like, that was smart. They saw it was working. They kept doing it.
I should have hit a better overhead. So like, I think that's kind of the issue when it comes to like you're not expecting someone to change their play style. Like you play better or
just get better. I don't know.
No, seriously, you play better or you don't play, or you have a conversation with them afterwards, or maybe you work on, not popping the ball up so they can't smash it at you. You know, like I think that I'll say this to defend both people in this post.
Yeah.
There are people that there are times that you're going to get frustrated. And I think that's part of the game. Like I get frustrated almost every time I play pickleball, probably at least once, probably like a dozen times at least. But I think that's part of the game. I mean, golf is such a fun sport for people. Golf is super addicting, and it's very frustrating at the same time. There's a frustrating element that makes you want to get better in sports, and I think that's good for sports. So I think that, people are going to get frustrated. You're going to get frustrated, and you just can't let it ruin your day. Make amends, move on.
And go drill.
And work on your game. And then there's other people that if someone's clearly expressing frustration, you can also be the bigger person and say, hey man, like I'm not going to, maybe you don't have to apologize, but say, hey man, I realize that maybe me hitting my overheads like that was upsetting to you. I'm sorry, that wasn't my intention to upset you. I was just trying to play my game or win. I think that there's conversations that can be had. to limit animosity at rec play.
I think it's just not that deep.
Yeah.
Don't need to make it that deep.
Yeah.
That's all I got. All right. Next post.
Okay, let's go to the next post here. This also comes from Reddit. Guys, if you guys are just wanting some entertainment, just type in pickleball to Reddit and just scroll, and you'll find some fun threads you can just get lost in. But basically, this last one's going to be a quick one. And basically, this guy says, when you're playing poorly, like everyone has an off night, but when you're out playing at a rec night and you're playing poorly, do you push through or do you just go home? And I think, I mean, we saw it the other day with a friend of ours who he was like, he lost his first game and it's like a paddle rack system. And we saw him walking off and we're like, he's like, yep, one and done. I'm one and done today. And then I think probably like a week ago, I was playing really bad and I was like trying to turn my attitude around, but I was just frustrated. And honestly, I needed to grocery shop. I needed to get some things done. But I just decided, like, I don't know if it's worth me waiting in the line to play again and then getting frustrated. I'm just going to go home. I normally don't do that. I normally just play through frustration. But what do you do? Like, what do you do if you're having an off day?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, you guys. We all have off days. I think that's one of the hardest parts about this game is it can be incredibly frustrating. And it's incredibly humbling that what a wiffle ball can do to you emotionally. Like, it's wild. But usually when I'm frustrated, I think I get really internal. I think that's probably where I go. I'm not very like externally like rattled. I don't really like outburst to other people or
what do
anything
you
like
mean
that.
by internal?
Like, I think I get in my head and I probably get a little quiet.
Yeah.
And
I see you at sometimes like kind of like talking to yourself.
I always talk to myself.
Like coach yourself.
I'm always coaching. I'm always chatting to myself.
Like, I can't hear you, but I know that there's like such an I think it'd be fascinating. There's such an internal conversation. Like, is it like if I could go in your head, it's like, come on, Danea, come on, you got this, or is it like,
no, it's not.
Is it's like freaking hit your backhand?
It's literally like that. So bad. I'm trying to get better. Actually, I've talked about this on my platform before, just about your self-talk and how you talk to yourself in those moments. Yeah, I think when I'm frustrated, I really do try to push through for the most part. There's very, 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 I can maybe count 2 times on my hand where I've ever left in 4 years before I intended to leave. Yeah, I really try to push through. I don't know. There's something about like just keep going that makes me feel like, well, I guess maybe more in control over the situation than make the situation feel more in control. I'm like, if I'm playing bad, it's fine. But if it makes me leave, now it's like actually ruining my night, or whatever. So I try to make it a goal to stay and just enjoy what I can, whether it's just being around the people, chatting with friends, being outside in general is just a happy place for me. So if my game is not going well, I really try to stay and focus on the things that are going well. Because the reality is, even if I'm playing really bad, there's still a lot of things I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that I can be outside. I'm thankful that I can move my body. I'm thankful that I have friends and community. And I really just try to dial that in. That doesn't make it necessarily any less frustrating, but it does help me realize, honestly, there is more to life than playing a perfect pickleball game. And
it's powerful.
That's kind of what I do.
I think, yeah. And I think everyone's a little different. I think it's the classic, like, if you think about your significant other or having a conversation where you get an argument, there are certain types of people where when you're going through conflict, certain types of people that's like, I want to work this out now. I want to push through and get to the other side, and I want some conflict resolution. And there's other times where somebody might be like, you know what? You're not going to get the best of me right now. I think it's best that we take 10 minutes or we take an hour or we take a couple hours or a day. And I don't want to ignore this. Let's readdress this, but I just need 10 minutes so that you get the best version of me and that I'm not being defensive, etc. I think that you kind of just have to know what you need and the type of person that you are. Maybe there is a time when you should go home because it's actually better for your headspace, but you also don't want to give up just because you're afraid that there's a balance there, right?
What do you do when you're frustrated?
I think normally I push through, but I did the other night. I did decide, like, I think part of it was, though, I didn't want to wait in line for another 30 minutes. I was like, I feel like it's different if you're just playing back-to-back games, but if I have to sit there for 30 minutes and think about the loss
hard.
or think about my mistakes, I was like, I just want to change the scenery, but I think normally I push through.
What do you do that helps you when you're frustrated and you want to push through?
I think I'm learning. I'm learning. I think I don't think
honest.
I don't know. I think
That's
I'm
so honest.
I'm not perfect in the sense of this. I do think I get in my head. I think I get in my head sometimes, and I've been an athlete my whole life in the sense I've competed in sports, and I like to win. I don't like to lose. But I think sometimes I just like things that help me just take a deep breath, let it go, try to focus on conversations with other people. And yeah, kind of like you mentioned, if you can ever like dial into just giving thanks for what you can do. And, thankfulness is, I know we have Thanksgiving coming up relatively soon, but thankfulness is such a powerful thing because you start to focus on what you have. And when you focus on what you have, it makes your focus on what you lack go down, and your focus on what you have goes up, and your thankfulness goes up, So I think those are huge things. I think, like, I had an injury back in February, and I tore my calf muscle, and I was out sidelined for 8 weeks, and then a couple months of physical therapy. And when I first came back to the courts and played, it wasn't perfect, and I'm still like a little hesitant, just like mentally. But I remember coming back to the course and just feeling so thankful that I could play, because I couldn't play for 2 months, And in those moments, like, I should probably remember that more often, that I get to play today, and that's fun.
That's big.
So
I would love to know, though, if you guys have any like tactics or things that you use to help you like deal with frustration on the court. I'm all ears, because I don't think any one of us really does it perfectly. I actually really respect pro pickleball players in this instance, because when they can, just dial back in after mistakes, or a hard game or whatever, like, it's amazing to me. So if you guys have any like tips or tricks of how you deal with frustration on the court, I would love to hear that in the comments. If you could let us in on your secrets.
yeah, that would be great. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching today's episode. Please like, subscribe, leave comments, share this with your friend, and we'll see you on the next one.